Hey, I want to talk a little bit about soft skills that I think software testers should have. I'm going to go into both ones that you probably have heard of, details as to why I think they're important, and then maybe a few that don't immediately spring to mind. Let's get into it. The first one is an obvious one, and that's going to be communication. Now, the reason I want to talk about communication is that the key to being an effective tester is to being a strong communicator. If you are great at finding bugs and you're this, really impressive detective, but you're not able to communicate effectively as to what you found, how you found it, and why people should care, then it's almost like all your work is for nothing because people don't quite understand what you've shown them. When I talk about an effective communicator, I'm talking about someone who can communicate effectively and clearly. So they know that there could be a difference between what they say and the message received, and then they make sure that those two are the same, so that all the time they've spent on testing, on seeing how the state of the software under test has not gone to waste. Another trait, I think, of an effective communicator is someone who knows to meet a stakeholder where they are. And by that, I mean the way I would talk or the words I would use with someone who is, say, like a developer would be different to, say, a product manager or a designer. Because often people are coming at things from a different direction. They care about different things. They have different focuses. They have different angles. So I try to think, okay, how do I target them and then tailor my communication effectively? So for example, developers may be focused on, other than building the software, they're also thinking about when you present a bug to them, how do I fix this? How do I go about narrowing this down so I can address it? A product manager would be thinking about the timeline, any sorts of like upcoming releases, the roadmap, how what you find could impact that. So then the way I would talk would target that. The designers, maybe I'm thinking about Nielsen's usability heuristics, and I could talk to them a bit about that, and they might have already heard of it as well, because I feel like, for example, when I've talked about the usability heuristics with designers, they're like, ooh, a tester who knows that. Meet people where they are. That's really what I mean there. The second thing I want to go into is analytical skills. I've found when it comes to analytical skills, you want to be able to find, say, an issue or observe something, and then go a bit into why that happened and then do some detective work based off that. Here's an easier example of showing how it's not being put into use. What would happen is I would see people write bugs, and then they would illustrate what the problem is. And they would say, raise a bug in the bug tracking software. They would go in the actual result, expected result, steps to reproduce. That's actually an okay starting point. But then what they have failed to do is show what they have done to try and narrow down the problem. Let's say you had a problem with login, and then applying analytical skills here would be, is a problem with login specifically on this browser, specifically on this OS? Is a problem with login intermittent? Am I able to reproduce it? All of these, I think, are examples of you trying to narrow down the problem and apply analytical skills. If you find an issue and you stop there and then you just try to raise it as is, then you're actually not being very much help to anyone as a tester. I think you really should make an effort to narrow it down. Third, I really think testers should look into time management. Now, we all wish we had more time to do all the tests we wanted to run, for example, but often that's not the case. There are deadlines, there are other things we should be working on, and we do really need to learn how to manage our time. When it comes to time management, I think it's good to learn how to manage your time effectively. And by that, I mean, if you have heaps of tasks to do, or even a few, knowing what to prioritize and when, knowing, say, when you're testing something, at what point should you stop? At what point have you reached good enough with testing and know that, okay, your time is now better spent on something else? In a future video, I might go a bit into the economics of diminishing returns in testing, but for now, I'm going to link a blog post in the description, which you could read so you could understand this concept better. Now, lastly, I'd like to go into social skills and collaboration skills. As a tester, you're almost always going to work with people. I don't really know any testers who work in isolation. It's not like you have to be the friendliest, like, oh, I love, yeah. You don't have to be like that. But you do have to be able to get along with people. You do need to be able to build a good relationship with people, with your stakeholders, with the developers in your team, with any other testers you might be working with the product managers, and so on. And the reason I say this is that, again, you'd be more effective. I mean, you've heard those words before from me, but you'd be more effective if you're able to do this. I'm going to share some examples on my past as to how me, I guess, getting on well with people has helped me with my role. So, for example, the most obvious one is to say working with developers. If you get stuck on something, so let's say you're setting up a test automation framework and you get a little bit stuck, someone is more likely to help you if they like you, if you have a good working relationship. So I could then link this back to the previous points. If you've communicated effectively and helped narrow down bugs that they've had to earlier address, if you have been, so good with those analytical skills, those communication skills, so you've vested into that relationship, so to speak, then when it's your turn to ask for help, and then you're more likely, I think, to get it than if you're just ask. So it's been a two-way thing. Another thing would be, say, with time management. So if you've shown the people in your team that you know how to manage your time, then linking it back to social skills and collaboration skills, people can respect you for that and enjoy, being around you. I do think this is the hardest point with social skills and collaboration skills and to illustrate, because I don't want to say you need to try and be everyone's friend, but I do think for most people, it's easier to just work with people when you found something in common. What I have done in the past is I've brought fika. I have, just really taken the time to get to know people, and say in my team to try and build a collaboration, among them, is actually not asked. I've told them that I want them to arrange, when new people join, one-on-one fikas. That's like a Swedish coffee tea tradition with each other. I do find it's easier to build a good relationship with people one-on-one. That's just me personally. I don't know if that's an actual thing for everyone, but at least for me, the conversations you'll have with just one person is going to be a lot better and a lot more interesting than, say, if you're trying to have this group conversation to build connections in a group of 8 or something. So if you want to work on the social skills and collaboration skills in your team, that's something to look into. I've also seen people who have afterworks or some sort of thing, event that's outside of the workplace to build connections. While I do like that, I do think that risks excluding people in personal situations where it can be hard to get to be away from work after work. So, for example, parents. But you could also do that with, say, lunches. There are actually many ways you can go about this. I do make an effort to connect with people. And I mean, to be honest, it's not really just a case of connecting with people for work reasons. I'm just a very curious person. So this is probably the one that comes most naturally to me, though I can be awkward. So yeah, are there any soft skills you think I'm missing? Let me know in the comments below.